my TV screen, jeez. My laptop was obviously in front of me, and my hair blended into my couch.
Oh, yeah?
My hair is the same shade as my couch.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And this is blonde. I mean, it's a very light tan brown-ish, but my hair is blonde. I refuse to accept that my hair is no longer blonde.
You have, like, blonde blindness.
I'm blonde. I'm just a very, very dirty blonde.
So brown?
No. Because if you look at the ends, there are some, I'm gonna bring look. If you see, like, the underneath of my hair is, I will say, it is a little bit of a brown. But, like, you can see all the different colored strands.
It's dimensional.
I have so many different colors. Look at this. That is blonde. It's a dark blonde, but it's blonde. It's okay. Blonde.
Okay.
I used to have, like, bleach blonde hair.
No, that's why I think you're having, like, denial.
It's gotten so much darker. I'm not denying that it's darker. I'm just denying the fact that it's not brown. It's dirty blonde. I miss my bright blonde hair. But no, spiders. So, like I said, there was a spider's nest down further that I think hatched, and now I'm getting, like, the stragglers coming in here every once in a while. But this wasn't recently. This was a while ago. I had a spider crawl across my face while I was sleeping. Twice!
How do you know?
Twice!
Did you wake up?
Well, it was right before I was going to sleep. I was like, I just turned out the lights. I had laid down to actually, like, go to sleep, and I wasn't, like, on my phone or anything, so lights were off. And I thought it was my hair at first, like, falling across my face. So I just kind of brushed it away, and it didn't feel like hair at that point. And I freaked out, and I turned on it crawled right across my face, and I brushed it away, and I turned on my light. I found my phone light, turned it on. I was trying to find it, couldn't find it. So I thought I brushed it away, like, off my bed and everything. So I was like, okay, whatever. I go back to sleep. 2 seconds later, I feel it crawl across my face in the exact same spot again. And that time I, like, full on smacked myself in the face and squished it.
Was it a daddy long leg?
No. I don't know what it was. But it was not okay. That's what it was. It was just not okay. But yeah, crawled across my face in the same spot twice. And yeah. And then I'm sitting here last night and I see another spider crawl across my floor. Thankfully I had my shoes on. And I just... And but then the other day, one almost fell on my head. I need to burn my house down. That's the only solution at this point. If I find one more, it's getting a hot oil treatment. I'm just done.
I hate spiders.
So, okay. Hello. I don't know what to do.
You can't make me laugh so hard because my face really hurts.
Oh yeah! Okay, we gotta get into this. Hello, welcome back to my aunt's attic. How you doing, Mary Grace?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Are you really okay?
I'm actually better than I thought I would be.
You don't have chipmunk cheeks. It makes me really sad.
I do a little bit. I can see it, because I know really well what I look like.
I guess it doesn't look like it to me.
It's really only on this side right now.
Okay, comparatively, I can see it a little bit more on that side, but you doing okay. Wisdom teeth are gone. They pulverized them.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah, that's really sad.
I didn't even get to look at him.
That's really upsetting. Yeah. Just a moment of silence for your teeth.
Yeah, R.I.P. the big four.
So, you FaceTimed me, and I'm so glad you did.
I don't... Okay. I remember being still in the chair and being like, oh, Danielle asked me to FaceTime her, and my mom was like, just wait. Just wait till we get in the car. And I was like, oh, yeah, good point. And then I remember calling you. I don't remember what I said. You
didn't really say anything, but that's what made it funny. You were so adamant about the fact that I haven't said anything stupid. I haven't said anything stupid.
Was I saying that?
I'm just my normal, funny, awesome self. All the time. I haven't said anything stupid. You just were so adamant about it. That's what was funny.
God, that's embarrassing.
It It wasn't, though. You were so cute. And then you were talking at one point, and, like, blood started dribbling down, and I was like, oh, you gotta, he was like, oh, okay. He dabbed at it.
Ew. I'm so sorry.
No, it was hilarious. I'm so glad you FaceTimed me. It was great.
Well, I remember, like, the whole time I was awake, I remember being very conscious. But at the same time, I had, like, short-term memory loss. So I was saying the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
Although they weren't, like, terribly stupid, I was saying the same things.
You were
over and over again.
repetitively hyper-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hilarious. I loved it. And
I
then
did good. I thought it was going to come out, like, super emotional or, like, really crazy. I feel like
No.
that was the best case scenario.
Was it your mom who took you?
Mhm.
She asked if I had gotten my wisdom teeth out, and you were like, no, she's got plenty of room in her big head for her wisdom teeth.
Dang.
So obviously I responded that you did not have enough in your little peanut head.
That's a fact.
And then you guys went to Wegmans.
Yeah, I walked around Wegmans like,
That's-
right after.
Brave.
I felt fine. I was just kind of sleepy.
I would have been adamant about staying in the car or going right home.
Yeah, we picked up my prescription.
Okay.
And then I was awake the whole rest of the day.
Gross.
I thought I was gonna, like, pass out.
Yeah. No?
No, I felt fine.
You iced your face and...
Iced up. I slept on the couch first couple nights. Because you can't lay down.
Yeah.
Because the blood will, like, go into your head.
Ew.
So, yeah.
I had surgery one time, and then my nurse, that was my nurse for, like, the night over the night or something,
Mhm.
I saw her 2 days later. I wasn't supposed to be at work, but I had to go back to work. And I saw her 2 days later at the bookstore, and I was like, oh, hi, you were my nurse. And she was like, oh, when? I was like, 2 days ago. She's like, I don't remember. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's actually good to know.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know.
They just kind of, like, wipe from memory.
They're just in job mode.
Yeah.
They just forgot about it.
Yeah. But no, they were, I was cat sitting for a neighbor, and I cleaned out the cat litter and went to throw out the cat litter in the dumpster. Just open it real quick, toss it in, and out of the peripheral, I see something that should not have been in the dumpster. And I look, and it was 3 baby raccoons, and they were all huddled up. And
They're
it was so
so
cute. I
cute.
almost dropped cat poop on their precious little heads, so I apologize for that. And I wanted to keep them so bad. They were so cute. I mean, God served them up to me on a garbage platter, and I wasn't allowed to keep them. It was really insulting. I had to make, like, a makeshift ladder for them to get out of the dumpster. I had to go check later on if they were... And it was, like, raining that night, and it was that cold night, and it's just like, I'll bring you in. I had to watch out for the mama, because I didn't see the mom anywhere. I was like, she's probably stalking me, waiting to attack me.
Their
to
little
get to
hands.
I love their little hands! Oh my god, they're so cute. Yeah, so I didn't get to keep them, and I'm really angry. I'm really salty about that.
Their little hands make them look like little humans in, like, a big fuzzy
I do,
suit.
I love
and they're
it.
just, like, little gloves sticking out.
Side note, we are going to have to apparently find a new day to record this, because every freaking Wednesday, they're mowing the grass. So I'm sorry if
Does
you
it
hear
come
that
up?
humming.
I don't know if you can hear
I
it.
did. I heard it the last couple recordings. So yeah, if you hear that weird humming, it's because they're mowing the grass, and I cannot get away from it. There's a lot of land around here, so they are mowing like every single day.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, what else happened this week? What was like? Oh, this is the first day off I've had in 2 weeks.
No way.
I'm so freaking excited. I'm like almost in tears thinking about the fact that when we're done here, I'm gonna do nothing. Nothing! I'm so excited. It's been a full 2 weeks since I've had a single day off. Because I work,
God bless.
I work
Yeah.
7 days because I technically work shorter days,
Mhm.
so I work more days to make up for it. But my work is really exhausting, so I'm like, I'm so excited to do nothing. Okay. But yeah.
But yeah.
Good stuff.
I might go to the fair. Do you go to the fair?
I forgot. What? Yes,
You do?
I do. Forgot it opened today.
I might go.
Today?
Yeah. I'm gonna get a haircut after this. And
What do you like to do at the fair? What do you like to get?
Food.
Thank you for that.
I don't know what I'm gonna get though,
You
because I'm really
suck.
only like sucking on things right now.
Oh
Maybe I'll suck on some fried dough.
Have you thought about if you're gonna break your vegetarianism to get your corn dog?
I'm good.
You're good.
I'm gonna pass on it.
Lame.
No, I like to... What do I like to get? Well, I haven't been having dairy either, so I don't really know what there is gonna be for me.
All my friends like to get the wine slushies.
I've never had a wine slushie. It's my first year being 21.
So fun.
I would like to try one.
Get sloshed. Getting slizzard.
I'm driving.
No. Boo.
Maple cotton candy?
Ew.
You don't like maple?
I don't like cotton candy, and that just sounds disgusting.
It's good.
Gross.
What do you get?
I don't.
What do you do?
I don't.
Do you go? Yes.
I mean, I do, but I don't ever. There's nothing ever that I do every time.
Oh.
Like,
okay.
I'll wonder.
Baked potato every time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you ever had one?
No. I mean, I've had baked potato,
From the
obviously,
fair?
but no, not from the fair.
Oh my god.
There's a chicken on the run or chicken on the go. I don't know but their sauce or whatever they use for their chicken was really good. I tried it at Taste of Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
I want to find them again because they had some good chicken. Not that you care, but no, I don't. There's nothing that I do on every occasion. So if anybody has any recommendations for the New York State Fair as far as food, drop a comment. There's a section on Spotify, and I don't know how everything else
There's
works.
not.
Yes, there is. I thought there was
I
like
can put one.
the Q&A. Yeah, put that in.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your favorite fair foods? What do I need to try? Remember when we talked about it before, and I said that they need to put chocolate covered pretzels on a stick?
Oh yeah.
Everything needs to be on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of things are.
Well, that needs to be on a stick.
Cotton candy's on a stick.
That's
Corn dogs
disgusting.
are on a stick. Baked potato on a stick. They do cheesecake on a stick.
Do they?
Mm-hmm. It's really good.
Oh, I love cheesecake. Best cheesecake, though, is from my hometown in Melbourne's. From Melbourne's cafeteria.
I love cheesecake.
So we're just gonna real awkwardly transition into the conversation that we've been planning on for a couple weeks now, and we never.
We've
got
been
around
doing
to.
what?
The conversation.
Been planning on?
Yeah, we planned it for like 2 weeks ago, and then it never actually happened.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna be talking about something that we have absolutely no business talking about: parenthood. Neither of us are parents. We should really have
We
no
might
say
not
in it.
either be ever either.
I don't intend to ever be a parent. I would. Okay, that's a lie. I would really like to foster and adopt older kids,
Mm-hmm.
like teenagers and stuff. But having my own kids, nah. Mama's gonna have to accept she ain't getting no grandbabies from me. Nope.
My mom doesn't really care.
No.
No.
Well, she has other children. How many siblings do you have?
One.
Okay.
And she doesn't want to have kids either.
Yeah. Then no.
She doesn't care.
Does Eric want to have kids?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I go back and forth. Honestly, it depends on my outlook on humanity.
Well, that's kind of the biggest reason why most people are not having kids anymore, because who
Mhm.
wants to bring a kid into this economy?
Right.
And you know,
Oh god.
so at church the other day, I forget what the entire conversation was because obviously I listened so well, but it was like the different types of suffering that people go through, and especially right now with the economy the way it is. And he actually said that a lot of people don't want to bring kids into this economy, but there is like a beauty in having kids that people are now missing out on. And he was like, don't get me wrong, there's a certain suffering in having kids as well. I'm like,
Get them.
the whole
Get the kids.
The whole church was laughing. Oh my god, it was so funny. But I'm like, accurate. The accuracy is bar none. Just, yeah.
It sounds horrible.
It does.
Like, I won't even try to pretend it doesn't. It sounds bad.
It sounds like not a good time. I mean, my brother has his son,
Mm-hmm.
and he loves him dearly, and he just always wants Lincoln with him. But I'm like, nah, man. I love the kid. I'll take a bullet for him. I'll jump in front of a train for this kid. But, like, take your kid.
It's a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
It's
I'm like,
insane.
no thanks, man. I like them for the fun times.
Right.
Other than that,
Because you're an
nah.
aunt.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be the fun aunt. And I'm not even that because I live 6.5 hours away from them, so I can't even do that.
Special aunt.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, I go back and forth.
do you think you'd be, even if you don't want to, do you think you'd be a good parent?
Yes.
Yeah?
I would be really good.
How so?
Just because I would be awesome in every way.
Are you going to be, like, more their friend than
No.
their parent? Yeah?
No,
Yeah.
there has to be a balance. I don't like parents that are, like, super lenient and super, like, over friends and da-da-da-da. I want to be someone that my kids want to please intrinsically. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, not that they want my approval, but that I can give them validation. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Okay. I wouldn't say, for me, kind of like the not so much validation, but trust. I want them to trust me. I want to be able to establish the fact that I am somebody that you can go to no matter what. That I'm going to be on your side, even if you're doing something stupid, that I might disapprove of what you're doing, but I will never disapprove of you as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that comes with, like, the specific type of wording that you use.
Mm-hmm.
And the example that I kind of always use is my cousin was talking to her nephew, and he was doing something stupid. He should not have been doing this thing. And she said, "Stop acting stupid." And he took it to mean like he was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just this simple, the positive reinforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can reprimand a kid by being a positive reinforcement, saying, like, instead of saying, "Stop doing that stupid thing, stop being stupid, stop acting stupid," say, "You're smarter than that. You're better than that. Stop doing that because you know better than that." And kind of reinforce the fact that they are better than what they're doing and make them realize that they could be acting better. And you know they are capable of that, and you have higher expectations for them. And so then they're like, okay, this person expects more from me. I should probably try to live up to that a little bit more. So that kind of thing, like the positive reinforcement.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
You said that way better. Like, they know what is expected of them.
Yeah. One of my favorite books, The Problem with Forever, by Jennifer L. Armentrout, it was these two kids who were in the foster system at one point, and this kid, he was not so much a troublemaker, but just didn't really put his best foot forward in school because nobody ever expected him to.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of labeled him as the problematic foster kid. And so at one point, the principal was talking to him, and because he's skipping class, and he's just like, "Oh, skipping class again, I see. You need to do what you're supposed to do, but, I don't expect you to actually follow the rules ever." And he's like, "Yep. Can't expect that from me." And it was just almost kind of like the disheartening thing. It's just like, no one expects anything
the
good from me.
reinforcement.
Yeah. They're reinforcing that they're no good in life. And so why bother? So that's my thing. It's just like always reinforce the positive and make people want to live up to the expectations that you have for them. So always expect more from people.
Mm-hmm. I saw this thing that was like, speak good about your kids, like, in front of your kids. Like, no matter what, no matter how they behave, like, if you're out with a friend and your kid is with you, say, "Oh my god, they're so amazing. They're such a good kid. They're always on top of everything." Da-da-da. Speak good about them in front of them.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets a boundary, or not a boundary, a bar, almost, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel like as far as clothing, gender expression?
As long as it's appropriate for their age.
Like, I don't care, like, at all. Like, as far as, like, gender expression. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a girl and you want to wear boy clothes, I could not care less.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, I always, jeans, t-shirt, boots, I'm like, I'm comfortable in what I'm comfortable in, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess if you're comfortable. That's my biggest thing is I just want to be comfortable.
Yeah, I care about, like, the efficiency of my clothes. Yeah.
My mom, when we were younger, I will say I do really like this, and I will probably implement it if I ever have, like, younger kids. She would give the illusion of choice
Mm.
while still being able to, you know, be appropriately dressed out out in the world.
Mhm.
She would lay out a couple different outfits
Mhm.
and say, here, go, pick one of these.
Pick one.
Now, she would kind of take the choice away from us by, do you want to wear this one or do you want to wear this one? And we would always go for the one that she would emphasize.
Right.
But, you know, the illusion of choice was still there.
Yes.
Kind of gave us the freedom and, like, the independence that kids want without, you know, wearing a tutu on their head kind of
Mhm.
thing. It's like, you kind of have to be presentable when you're out in the world, you know, because unfortunately the world will judge you. And if your kid is inappropriately dressed, things have been happening and CPS gets called for something really stupid. So you have to kind of be aware of, like, your social standings and you know, your social awareness as well.
Right.
So as long as it's, like, appropriate and everything, I'm like, go for comfort, go
Mhm.
for ease, and just, I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
Or wear whatever you're going to wear.
Whatever.
I don't care.
Play with whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I will say, I know I'm going to have a problem with, like, forcing myself on my kids simply because I can't stand the annoying sounds. I will not let, like, if I were to ever have babies or little kids or something, not ever going to happen, but just saying, if I ever did, there will be no light up sound toys that need batteries.
I have something about that.
You're getting wooden blocks. You're getting the stacking rings. You're getting stuffed animals that are nice and quiet. We ain't doing this. Hi, how are you? No. If something squeals, high pitched voices, no.
Well, do you know why also, well, I'll say, I for sure only want to do, like you said, wooden blocks, stuffed animals, dolls, everything like that, because the second you add a motor or a battery or a button to push and things light up, the toy is making the fun.
Oh,
The
yeah.
kid is no longer needing to create the movement, the motion, the
Yeah.
fun. So if a kid can push a button and it lights up, that's instant gratification. But if a kid has to play with dolls and make up the fun, have their own imagination,
Yeah.
it forces them to use that part of their brain. Whereas if they're sitting and pushing a button, they lose that.
Yeah.
ability.
100%. Totally agree. We came at that from two totally different directions because I'm just
You
like,
just didn't want
what
it to
is
be loud.
I just don't want it to annoy me.
That's fair.
But, no, absolutely. You're completely correct. And, like, also with the television shows nowadays, like,
Mhm.
apparently Coco Melon, they've done studies, it is the literal worst thing that you can put in front of a child.
It's probably rotting their brain.
It is melting their brains.
My kids would not have any kind of screen at all. No iPad, no TV. Nothing.
I won't do iPads or phones, cell
Mhm.
phones until they're much older. Like handheld electronics. The TV shows that I would have, like, in the background, the problem is it's overstimulating.
Yes, I know what you mean.
So
Those,
when
like, low
Yeah.
saturation,
Like, Franklin and Little Bear
Mhm.
are great examples of great shows. Also, I actually just recently bought the DVDs because I wanted to watch them. Do you know Beatrix Potter?
Mm-mm.
I'll have to show you afterwards. But Beatrix Potter has, like, the Peter Rabbit, or Peter Cottontail, or whatever it is. Peter Rabbit, I don't know. Jemima Puddle Duck, Jeremy Frog. No? None of these are ringing a bell?
No, I don't know
Oh my
those.
god, okay. So she's the author of some of these children's books that have now little movies that go with them, and they're the same thing, kind of low saturation, low movement,
Mhm.
very minimal screen changes,
Mhm.
you know, because that's overstimulating, is, like, the constant screen changing.
Mhm.
And I just recently watched them. They're so relaxing, they're so calming, and I love them. And so, like, those are the things that I'm going to introduce to my kids.
Lo-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything that I grew up with when I was a kid, like, little, like, I think that's what I'm gonna, because nowadays you just have these things that are just melting kids' brains,
Mhm.
instant ADHD, they can't sit still, you know, and everyone can raise their kids however they want, but, like, my cousins and everything, all of my little cousins, they have iPads and stuff, and they're just sitting in front of it.
Some kids can't
constantly.
even eat without it. Like,
Yeah.
they can't function without
You
it.
can't go to bed without. I'm like, what happened to a good bedtime story?
Mhm.
Nope, gotta watch my iPad.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like doing that with my kids. Not that I'm ever gonna have them, but never say never.
We've established that, Danielle.
I'm so adamant about it at the same time because I will say though, because I've had so many of my clients say like, oh, are you dating anybody? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married? Blah, blah, blah. And when I say no, they're just like, oh, you'll change your mind. When you meet the right guy, you'll want to have like little mini meet thems. And like, nope.
It's not about that. It's about, like, an outlook, and it's about a foresight for, like, humanity, for me, at least.
Yeah. I mean, like, this isn't
It's
a
not
small,
like a cutesy
like,
little fairy tale of, like, oh, maybe I'll, like, have kids. I'm,
Yeah,
like,
no.
thinking about their futures and the future of their kids. Like,
this is a lifelong commitment.
yes.
And
people don't realize that, and it's obvious in what they name their babies sometimes.
Yeah.
Because people name babies, and they don't name
They
what are
name them
going to be
baby names.
adults. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to give your kids a proper adult name
Mm-hmm.
and then give them cutesy little nicknames when they're kids.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I would like to make up a new name. I've already got one kind of circulating. It's similar to a real name, but just slightly changed enough
Mhm.
to be individual. But that's the only thing. It's like the little things that you wouldn't be able to do. Because like I said, I want to foster and adopt.
Mm-hmm.
You can't name your kids. You
Right.
can't instill in them certain values when they're young. Or introduce them to certain things when they're young, because mine are already going to be pretty much fully grown and raised by the time I get a hold of them. But that's the one thing I would love to name my babies, because I think that my names would be really cute.
Yours would be definitely really good. I don't know. Because I'm Italian, I'm kind of, like, forced to, like, use my grandparents' names and stuff. Or my parents' names.
The middle name was going to be one of my great grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to use her name as a middle name for one of my kids, but no, we've got a couple circulating, trying to create new names. The thing that also kills me though is like you've got people naming their kids after shows in pop culture nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm never going to be able to talk to any of these people with these names without just thinking about these pop culture references.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not okay. I don't feel like that's okay anymore. Because they're really out there.
Yeah, it's
They're-
obvious that
Yeah.
it's from, yeah.
So, unless it's like a common name that... Like,
Right.
my nephew Lincoln.
Mhm.
Lincoln is not super common.
No.
But it's common enough where it's not out of the blue kind of thing.
Yeah.
But at this, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what they told me. Lincoln's mother said that she named him Lincoln after, maybe I get the shows mixed up, but from The 100. There's a show called The 100. There's a
I've
character
heard
named
of
Lincoln
it,
in
yeah.
that. And then my brother named Lincoln from Prison Break. There's a character named Lincoln from that. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, if that's how you guys agreed on it, if that's where you're thinking, and you're
But it
okay
works
from
because it's not so out there.
yeah. Like I
Yeah.
said, it's common enough where it's not like only thinking about those things, but still
Right.
unique enough.
Like, I love the name Sloane
I do
from
like that.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's the only place
I
I've
do
ever
like
heard
that.
that name, though, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So I feel like it's not common enough.
No,
But I
but
love
at the
that
same
one.
time, like Ferris Bueller's is so.
Timeless.
It is timeless. It is a cult classic, but at the same time, nowadays, you're not having a lot of people know what that's from.
That's true.
Because I just don't hear enough people talking about that movie.
I love that movie.
That movie is so perfect.
I want to watch it
I
now
love
when I
that
get
movie so
home.
much.
Yeah.
Uh
I want to go back to what you were saying about the illusion of choice.
huh.
I feel like that is so important, especially for, like, toddler, young kid age of, like, you know, you're at the playground, we have to go home, and to avoid a tantrum, do you want to skip to the car or do you want to bunny hop to the car?
Yeah.
Like, it is so useful. It's insane.
Well, I saw this one study that said and this goes for everyone, not just kids, but literally all of humanity, because this is how humans' brains work, is we have a hard time looking past the choices that we're given. When you are set parameters, you only ever look within those parameters. You don't take a minute to kind of think, okay, well, what else can I do? What outside of the box can I think of? And so it even works in like your daily office. Do you want to have the meeting at this time or at this time? There's no getting around the meeting. There's no getting, that was a really stupid example, but
no, you're right.
It works for everybody. It's like you give choices rather than
an ultimatum.
Than open-ended things. And if you're having a disagreement with someone, like, we can either talk about it now or here, or we can do this or we can do that. Not, where are we going?
Not leave it open. Yeah.
So I think starting that kind of thing young.
It's so cool. I love watching it on TikTok of people being like, okay, you have to finish your broccoli. Do you want to eat it like a dinosaur, or do you want to eat it like an airplane? And then they end up finishing it. It's amazing. Or I saw one yesterday that I thought was interesting. He had broccoli left, and the dad was like, it was 3 pieces. We can either eat all 3 pieces, or we can have 2 pieces. And it's like, you don't have to, I love that too, like, of not having to finish your plate, because I feel like that's such a big thing that I grew up with. But just the option, it's so cool.
Yeah.
But, oh my god, the finish your plate thing is...
I think it's so...
I saw this thing that really, I will never forget it, and it was like, if you're full or if you're finished and you force yourself to eat or you throw it away, either way, that food is wasted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way.
Because, like, you're miserable, and it's like, it's not doing you any good.
It's not what
you're overeating at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, absolutely, 100%. And, like, it messes with the body's ability to register when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to your body and figure out, because that's my problem. I'm just like, I see food and I eat it because it's there. Because I was never, like, given the parameters of, like, oh, no, you can actually stop. Like, you don't have to continue eating. And because same thing, you have to finish your food. And, in some cultures, it's actually considered rude to finish all of your food.
Wow.
And then in other cultures, it's very rude not to finish all your food. So, like, it definitely depends on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm just like, if my kids don't want to finish something, it's like, okay, that's fine. It will be here when you're ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, I don't do that whole thing where it's just like, I'm not going to make you an entire 10-course meal because you can't decide what you want to eat. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't want to eat this, this is what I made. This is what you're going to get. So you can have it now. You can have it later. You can have it when you're ready. But this is what you're getting.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to whip out, like, everything in the kitchen just to appease you for this one meal. Like, no.
Right.
And I do follow this one mom. And she kind of did the same thing. She said, okay, your food's ready. And he's like, I'm not hungry yet. And he's like, okay, well, it's going to be here. Instead of, like, forcing your kid to...
Why do we not, like, encourage that intuition? It's so crazy of, like... I don't know.
I'm also someone who... I don't want to say I'm a pushover, but I just don't have a lot of limits that I think a lot of parents do. And that might change when I'm a parent. But as far as kids doing things that parents usually stop their kids from doing, I'm like, why? Why can't they?
I've seen parents that are so, I don't know if strict is the word, but maybe they just have had enough, and they just, like, if their kid is even moving, they're like, stop, just stay still, like, da-da-da. I'm like, they have energy, they need to move, like, they're fine. If they get dirty, it's fine. If they fall over, it's fine. Like, let them move. Their body is telling them they have a need.
Yeah.
Let them.
As long as I'm, like, a big thing is being socially aware.
Mm-hmm.
As long as my kid is not being disruptive to other people, I'm going to let them do pretty much anything as long as they're not harming themselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be able to do anything because that's how they learn how to function themselves, how they learn how to work with their environments and everything. It's just like letting them do it and learn for themselves. And again, as long as it's not disruptive to others. I was at the grocery store the other day and these kids were far too old to be acting like this. But the mom walks in with like 3 kids and they are just running up and down the aisles. They're picking stuff up. They're yelling across the entire store. And I'm like, be socially aware. Notice that you are disrupting other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's, rein them in a little bit. Have them be goofy kids around you.
Give them a task.
Yeah. Great idea. I love that. But, yeah, so definitely be more socially aware as long as they're not being disruptive to other people. Like, my thing is, if I take my kids to this store, or not the store, but a restaurant or something, restaurants are notoriously not good places for kids.
And airplanes and movie theaters.
I'm also someone who, yeah, I was also someone who was raised basically drinking out of the hose, rolling in mud puddles, and my aunt always cringes when she thinks about the fact that I had stuff all over my face when I was little or something, and my mom grabbed a rag out of the sink to wipe my face off, which is a breeding ground for bacteria. My immune system is incredible, okay? I do not get sick. I don't get sick because I was exposed to all of that when I was young. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, let my kid touch their nasty, gross everything.
Do it. Do it while you don't care.
Yeah. And so that's what I was thinking at the restaurant. If kids are like crawling underneath the table, parents are immediately like, no, don't do that. Get off the floor. Get off the floor. Let them be on the floor. They're not hurting anything.
No.
I'm like, do these restaurants not clean their floors? Probably not as good as they could, but at the same time, I'm like, what's down there that could straight up kill my kid?
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
You know? As long as they're building their immune system and everything, obviously if they get sick, I'm going to take care of them or whatever, but I'm just like, let them be kids. Let them pick up the germs that they need to be immune from. And I'm like, again, they're not disturbing anyone else. They're contained within my table, underneath my table, whatever. But they're contained. Are they screaming? No. Then let them be. Are they throwing things? No. Let them be.
Mm-hmm.
Let them rip up a thing. But then be socially aware. If your kids are making a mess, like if they rip up a napkin or something underneath the table, guess what? That's the parent's responsibility. That's not something that you leave for the busser or the waitress or anything. No. Like, you clean that up. You be socially aware of your kids. You make sure that you leave the table as much as you know, when you got there.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like people are always really challenged, like, how do I do the things I need to do as a parent and also, like, have my kid with me or entertain my kid at the same time? And I feel like involve your kid in whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. If you're going to the grocery store, have them hold the list.
Mm-hmm.
Have them help you look for stuff, or have them, I saw this one thing, the kids hate, like, sitting in that cart facing you. Turn it around and have them face the outside. That is so cool. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, involve them in whatever you're doing. They don't care what it is.
See, I always think kids are so much smarter than what people give them credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think talking to them like an adult.
Oh, yeah. No baby... well, what is it called? Like, you lift your voice so that it's more entertaining, but you don't shorten the words.
Yeah.
Full sentences, full words, but you kind of, like, have a higher tone.
Yeah.
I forget what the word for it is, but...
I don't know. I didn't know there was a word for it, but I've never talked... Like, my nephew, even that... I talk to him like I'm talking to you right now.
I love when people do that. Like, dude, stop.
I don't do the whole raise my voice thing or anything. I talk to my nephew like I am talking to you right now. And I love language. I know people probably get annoyed with it, but I love using larger words that encompass larger ideas rather than having to, use 10 words to explain a concept that can be, summarized with one really good, awesome, juicy word, So I tend to use a little bit broader vocabulary. And I will do that with my nephew because he is scary smart. He might not understand the words, but he can draw context from it, and he can still understand what I'm saying, even if he doesn't understand the specific words, and he can figure it out. And so I don't shorten my language with him. I don't raise my voice. Because I'm not a kid person, I don't know how to do all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm not on a regular basis with it, so I don't do it anyway. And the kid is smart, and he is able to entertain himself, and I'm just along for the ride. He directs me on how to play with him, and I'm like, you do you, man, and I'm sure. I don't know what to tell you, but, like,
that's really
you
cool.
got it handled.
Yeah.
But kids are so much smarter than what we give them credit for, and I remember when I was really little, kids are trying to emulate adults and have those kind of behaviors, and I remember we were at a gathering, family party, friends, I don't know. But somebody asked where somebody else was. I knew where they were. So I pointed. But I pointed with my pinky. Because I remember someone doing that. Someone adult always pointed with their pinky, and I admired that person, so I started pointing with my pinky. And I remember the guy I was talking to, a full-grown adult, he started laughing. And he was just like, oh my god, look how cute, pointing with... And I'm thinking to myself, don't laugh at me. I might be a kid, but I'm still smart enough to know, like, don't laugh at me. But now it happens with my nephew because he said something so freaking cute. We were all laughing in the car. He did get mad. He was like, stop laughing at me. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I used to be right where you are. I understand. I understand why you're frustrated. We're not laughing at you. You're just so freaking cute. Oh my god. But yeah, so kids are definitely smarter than what we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah. They're little sponges.
Yeah.
So true. I also think it's so important to just let them figure stuff out and don't intervene immediately.
If I saw this one thing and I loved it, if they're doing something dangerous carefully, let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I
or
thought
check in. Say, do you feel safe right now?
Yeah.
Check in, but don't immediately interject.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think fear comes from. Yeah.
Do you need assistance? I'm gonna, instead of help, I'm gonna be like, do you need assistance with this? No? Okay, you got this. I'm here if you do. And that's one of the biggest things, especially because, like I said, older foster kids and stuff, establishing a routine of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, as far as disciplining a kid, I don't like taking away opportunities as a punishment, because I know my brother did something stupid in high school, and as punishment, the school took away his senior night. He was not allowed to participate in his senior night. That is not
away memories.
Yeah, that's not a one-time punishment.
Okay.
That is a lifelong punishment. That is an experience he will never have. Those memories will never have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not okay. And the same thing with, like, if my kid were to do something stupid and they had a birthday party coming up. That's not just, and not letting them go to that birthday party, it's not just a punishment for them. It is a punishment for the kid that invited you to the party, for the other kids that were expecting you to be there, your other friends that were planning on being able to have those memories. And it's taking away those lifelong memories and those friendship opportunities that you could have. And so I don't like taking away opportunities. But I would be more inclined to take away the, how do I put it? But it's such a vague concept, but like, take away the opportunity to hide. You're going to confront what you did. I'm not giving you an option other than to confront what you did and recognize why it's problematic, and we're going to figure out how to fix it.
That's interesting.
So by that, I mean, like, if my kid does something stupid, it's my non-rhetorical method. I'm going to ask them, what were you thinking? Usually that's kind of that kind of vague rhetorical question that kind of puts it in someone's mind, like, okay, that was something stupid. You weren't thinking. No, I actually want to know. What was your train of thought?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you think this was a smart thing to do? Answer the question. What were you thinking? Take me through the thought process of why you did this. And make them confront why they did what they did. And then go through it step by step. Like, what could have you done instead of this? Why do you think this was not a good decision? You know, and make them confront themselves. But in an open dialogue where they can then understand that I am someone who is willing to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my...
It's a mutual understanding kind of thing. You want to be on the same page as them. It's not, what you did is wrong, I don't care why, you know, this is your consequence. It's like, let's reach a mutual ground of, like, I want to know what happened so that we can do better.
Yeah. And that's definitely, it's a two-way street. You know, kids learn just as much from you as you learn from them. Or as, like, you learn more from them, too. It's, like, that's why it always bugged me with, like, the way teaching is done nowadays. It's like, I'm the teacher, I know everything, and I'm filling an empty mind. No, you're not. You're simply an instructor on getting the information, and you're working with it. You're molding this opportunity. And it's, like, teachers can learn just as much from their kids as the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't like when teachers, like, shut down the opportunity for them to learn from their students. Because they're coming with life experiences. You're one person who has 25 opportunities and different lifestyles to learn from in front of you. Take that as an opportunity to actually, like, figure out how to work with new people and see new experiences from these kids. So it's like, because I've always wanted to kind of be a teacher as well. So I'm always thinking about, like, how can I implement, you know, my individual style into a classroom and, like, the back and forth kind of thing. I don't know if any of that made sense. But... I don't know. I definitely, as far as kids go, I don't want to take opportunities away from them. I'm going to take away your conveniences.
And I also feel like any consequence that you set, you need to follow through with.
Yeah.
Never, ever, like, waver it, ever. Because then it's not real.
Yeah.
If you're going to know that they can push a boundary with a consequence, they're going to push it.
Yeah. If you're going to threaten something, you better be in a position to follow through on it, because then you really are a pushover. And that's why I don't, like, my threats are always completely out of this world. Like, I know my cousin's kids, they're older, and I've seen them do, like, silly, stupid things. But I told them, I don't want to throw him under the bus or anything, but we were at the store one day. One of the older boys got mad, and he kicked, you know those, like, little balloon things on a stick? Mm-hmm. He kicked one of those. And I just told him, not on your life, man. I will launch you into orbit. So, obviously, I cannot launch him into orbit. There was no threat behind that. But it just kind of established the fact that, like, what he did was totally not okay. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to get away with that kind of thing without, you know, facing punishment. Not my kid, not really my place to, you know, enact punishments or anything. So I wasn't really, I didn't go into further detail or further punishment than that. But just kind of acknowledging the fact that, like, yeah, you're not going to get away with it. And, you know, there are punishments that can come with this. But obviously launching somebody into orbit is not one of those things. But a threat of, you know, my dad would do it all the time. He would get really mad, and he would ground us for, like, 2 weeks or something. You know, an hour later, he'd cool off, and he'd be like, okay, not for 2 weeks, for 3 days. Like, whatever. And it's like, I don't know.
If you know that the consequence isn't real, then you don't care about it.
It's just, I'm like, I mean, we still got grounded and everything, but it was just one of those things that it kind of undermined his authority.
You can't take him seriously.
It was just like, why weren't you able to reel it in the moment? And that's another thing. It's just like, I have a hot temper, but then I have to backtrack. I'll be like in the midst of something. I have to stop and be like, wait a second, this is not working. I'm not doing this anymore. Step back. We're going to be done for right now until I can actually rein it in. And then that's when, you know, another thing, if I were to have kids, I would wait until everything has de-escalated. And then we're going to move forward with figuring things out. Never in the moment. Never in the hot temper kind of thing. Nope. You have to wait till things de-escalate. You can't make decisions based off of, like, high-running emotions. Mm-hmm. So.
But I don't feel like there is anything a kid could really do that I would need to get to a point like that.
What do you mean?
Like, I don't know. Like, after, when I got older, my aunt was telling me, like, there's no reason to ever yell at you. Like, you're a good kid. Like, there's nothing to warrant, like, being yelled at or, like, getting to that point.
Yeah, I don't think yelling accomplishes anything. I think just being stern and consistent in your reactions to things.
Yes.
My mom, she would babysit some of the local kids, and there was the water park. It used to be called Wyandotte Lake, and we were headed there one time, and she applied this kind of thing to pretty much anywhere we went, grocery store, you know, any kind of fun park, anything. She's like, we're going to this place. There's going to be this, this, and this here. If you beg for it, if you ask for it, if you nag me, we're turning around and we're leaving. And she did. We went to the water park, and somebody complained about something, and we had been there for like 5 minutes, and we left. She was not playing around.
That's good.
And I was like, it worked. I mean, you definitely learned to listen to the instructions beforehand. She definitely followed through, and I'm like, yeah, that's the way you kind of have to do it. You have to be willing to shut things down. Even if it's, you know, inconvenient for the parent, you know, you just got to be able to follow through.
Yeah. I feel like it's the kid's job to push a boundary, so if you're not going to hold it, then they're going to keep pushing it.
Yep. And that's why I feel like I have to work on not being a pushover, because like I said, there's just not a whole lot of, I don't know, I'm just not bothered by a lot of things. I know, again, my cousins, the kids being a little bit older, they're at that age where they're purposely pesters. They're pestering people. And I just kind of goes over my head that they're being annoying sometimes. That we were at a wedding, and one of the kids comes up to me, and he starts kicking my chair, trying to annoy me. It didn't annoy me, though. I just kept thinking to myself, that sounds like it hurts. And I looked at him like, are you okay? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you just kicked the chair. Are you okay? Like, did that hurt? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. And I just let him kick my chair for another couple, and then it's not acknowledging it. And he got
a lot
bored
of
and
it
he
is
moved
for
on.
the reaction.
Yeah, they're literally just doing it for reaction, and I'm just unbothered by a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, there are certain noises. Like I said, I can't do like the high pitched musically like toys and stuff. It drives me crazy. Or like the high pitched voices on television shows that just like Max and Ruby. That show, Max and Ruby.
You don't like it?
I've never wanted to punch a fake rabbit so hard in the face. Oh, I can't stand her voice.
Ruby?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's annoying.
Ruby can get sent. I'm just done.
Send her into orbit.
Yep. But, yeah. No, I'm just, like, kind of unbothered by a lot of things. And like I said, if my kids aren't actively hurting something, I'm like, let
Do
them be.
whatever you want.
Yeah. But then at the same time, when they're off doing their own thing, they need to know that if I say something, they have to listen. Like, and again, same thing with my mom. Like, if you break the rule, the boundary that I set, we're done. We're done. Like, there's no 1, 2, 3. Like, we're done. And I was listening to this one podcast, this dad, they were like at a wedding or whatever, and the kids were all running around playing, and they wanted to wrangle the whole family together to get a picture. And some of the parents had to, go for 10, 15 minutes of like telling the kids, come on, and just over and over. And this one dad was just letting their kids play, and he was like, people were like, you need to get your kids. He was like, I know. And so once everyone finally did get set, he was like, hey, you and you, here, now. Immediately the kids came. And I'm like, train them like a dog. I'm not joking. I was listening to this podcast, and they said, basically, you have to train your kids like dogs. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, you reward them for good behavior and you don't reward them for bad behavior. Mm-hmm. And you're basically training them like dogs. Sounds terrible, but it's the truth. Because at the end of the day, humans are still animals. We are studied by scientists just like any other animal. We have patterns to our behavior that, and we can be trained to do certain things. So we're animals at the end of the day, so why not? You're nodding your head.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
Yeah. And someone did. They said somebody was training their kid just like a dog. Like, would have treats. Like, have, like, little... like, little candies and everything. Can you run and grab this for me? Okay, and then they'd bring it to him. Okay, here you go. Here's a candy. Like, oh, God.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think when I get around to it, I'm going to be a good mom. Yeah.
I agree.
Eventually. But like I said, I like older kids. Ones that I are able to function themselves a little bit better. Because I feel like if I was raising a baby, I'd be so nervous about raising a baby that I would screw it up just because I'm too nervous all the time. But a kid who's older is already established in the world. Then I just gotta mold what's already there a little bit, protect it. That's fine. I can
protect it. Yeah.
Yep. Feed and water the child, and it will grow.
How do you feel as far as like raising kids with religion and politics and stuff like that?
I believe more in raising through example. Mm-hmm. I'm going to live my life how I know is right for me, and hopefully that will be an example for them. But I'm not going to force something down their throat.
Right.
If they're not comfortable with something, we're going to hash out the reason why. We're going to figure out what is best. But I'm never going to, I shouldn't say never, but I don't ever want to force something in a way that, because when they don't understand. If I need to implement something because it is truly the right thing, I'm going to make sure they understand why. And that was a lot of times, like, I remember this thing with Halloween one time. I didn't understand why, because me and my brother were so excited to go trick-or-treating one year. And my dad tried to almost bribe us into not going trick-or-treating. He's like, we'll go out to eat. We'll have a really nice dinner. I'll buy you both bags of candy, whatever. I'll buy. But we just don't want to go trick-or-treating. And he was like trying to convince us out of it. And I'm like, I didn't understand why. I was like, why are you taking, we want to do this. We are so excited to do this. Why are you trying to convince us out of it? And it was because he himself was convicted that Halloween was not something to participate in. But he did not really inform us of why. He didn't let us have the opportunity to understand where he was coming from. It just felt very like he was backing us into a corner. I'm like, I don't like this. It was never a problem before. Why is it a problem now? And like, it just really was upsetting to me because I didn't understand where he was coming from. Mm-hmm. And so that's the thing. And I'm like, if I feel a particular way as far as my faith goes, I'm going to do it because it's right for me. And again, lead through example. And if they have questions, I will absolutely answer them. If I want them to understand something, or if I want them to, grow up believing something certain, I'm going to explain why it is the way it is. If they are able to understand it, if they are able to fall into that, not fall into it, but like kind of grasp it and make it feel and have it be right for them. If they're able to understand it, grasp it, and have it be right for them, great. If not, then maybe we're approaching it the wrong way. Maybe it's just simply not them. And again, because they're older and they've already had life experiences and they've already coming into it, I just have to lead through example. That's it. When kids make mistakes, I know when I was a kid, it was always like my parents were a little bit frustrated with me. Like, oh, what are you doing? Like, blah, blah, blah. I don't think, unless it was actively, I could see that it was on purpose. It's never going to be a big deal, because it's like the don't cry over spilled milk. It's really, truly not a big deal. You know what I mean? And so to make a kid feel like small or, belittle them or something for making a mistake, they're literally still learning how to use their bodies. Mm-hmm. And so if they spill something, it's just like, okay, how do we be more careful next time? Let's clean it up and like make a game out of it. I don't know. Yeah,
make it a learning experience, because that's what making mistakes is. It's about learning.
And it's honestly like a great way to like, okay, what's the best way to clean this up? Even everything can be a learning experience. Like, how's the best way to clean this up? Do we use paper towels? Do we use a towel? Do we have to get other cleaning products out? What's the procedure here? Because certain things require certain types of cleaning as well. So great learning experience.
Everything can be also play and like enrichment. Everything is something to do. I feel like if you're struggling finding something to do, like with your kid, anything.
Everything can be a bonding experience too. Mm-hmm. I remember we were talking about it before, how kids will say, hey, watch this, even if it's something completely inane. They want the bonding experience. They want the together time, even if it's something silly like that. So yeah, during cleanup time, during, fixing something, making them feel involved and having that time together, something as simple as cleaning up spilled milk can become a beautiful memory. And that's the thing, like, memories are, the way I kind of define memories is having an event attached to powerful emotions. Mm-hmm. And so if a kid is doing something really simple, but they have really big, happy emotions with that, that is possibly going to be a permanent memory for this kid. Make it a good one and be present in that memory as well. Because, there's like, with depression, I know, total turn of events, I'm sorry. But with depression, because your emotions are basically turned off, it really messes with your memory. So there's like a 2-year gap that I just don't remember anything, because I had no emotions to attach to events to make a permanent impact on my brain. So there's just a 2-year gap, because I was at my darkest of darkest, literally no emotions other than misery to formulate anything. And that also relates to a lot of times, I saw someone did a TikTok and oh my God, it hit me hard. This mom was asking her kid, like, what do you mean about this one time? You're saying that you remember this event. I don't remember this event. And they're like, yeah, because it was just a normal Tuesday for you, but it was a traumatic moment for me. And it's like, that's the thing. If you're creating memories for somebody else, like, you're just doing a repetitive, bad behavior as a parent, being like abusive behavior or something, that's going to imprint on your kid forever. It's normal to you, but it is traumatic for them. Mm-hmm. And so when they take that trauma into adulthood and they bring it up later as they're trying to heal, and then parents are just like, I didn't do that, blah, 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 I don't remember that. you're totally missing the point because it's not about you. It's literally about what you put me through and what I'm trying to heal from. Wow, this totally went.
No, you're
Really.
right. When you're a kid, it's your first time experiencing literally everything.
Yeah.
So your reactions and your emotions towards them are going to be huge because
Yeah.
it's your first exposure to everything.
Yeah. And there's also with that, though, I do want to counter it just a little bit by saying that I never want to shut my kids down as far as like what they're going through, their experience with it, but I'm also not going to validate incorrect feelings. If they're, like I said, something like spilling something on the floor, it is not a big deal. I promise you it's not a big deal. And so if they get really upset about it, if they, you know, I don't know why, but like kids will throw a tantrum over pretty much anything. But if they start throwing a tantrum over something silly or they get really upset over something that's just not a big deal, I'm gonna shut that shit down.
Well, I think also if you just don't acknowledge it a lot of the time, because a lot of time it's for a reaction or it's for
They're
attention.
basing their reaction off of your reaction as well.
Exactly. So if a kid falls and isn't really hurt, but if you're like, oh my god, are you okay? And then they'll start to cry.
Yeah.
But if you just are like, okay, we're going to move on.
Yeah. Well, that's actually proven in the videos that you see that parents will walk through a doorway with their kid in their arms and they'll knock on it with their fists.
And pretend that
and they're like, oh my god, are you okay? And then the kid starts crying.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that's such a perfect example of it, that they really are genuinely going off of your reaction to things. And so you have to be a role model. You really have to lead by example and everything. But because kids are kids, even if I'm chill about something, they're going to be throwing a tantrum about something. And I'm just going to be like, you can feel this for like another 3 seconds, and then I'm going to explain to you why it's not going to continue because this is not necessary. Now, in times when something is really upset, if their toy breaks, that's upsetting because they lost something they really enjoyed. They're allowed to be upset about that, but they're also not allowed to throw a
We're not
tantrum
gonna
and start
dwell.
breaking other things.
Yeah.
You know, because then, you know, so everything has its time and place. Validate the appropriate feelings.
Mhm.
Don't ever shut your kid down when they're trying to be open and vulnerable and honest with you. That's when that's communication is key, like I said.
Yeah, encourage them to share their emotions with you, but also if it's not really an appropriate reaction, then we can just not acknowledge it, we can move on.
Yeah. Good point. Yep. So, we'll see when we get there, I guess.
See what happens.
But yeah, everything is going to have to be through conversation because that's.
Mhm.
I read all these books, and my least favorite trope in all my books is the miscommunication. Just have a freaking conversation, and things would be fine. But nobody wants to do that. So then it's all an issue, and then everything explodes. Just have a conversation. I got really excited there. It's so frustrating, though. It's like I was watching Suits. The show Suits, you know? No? Okay. Can't tell you how many times it's so repetitive that something will have happened. Somebody will be going to the person that it's affecting and try to explain the situation, what's happening. I never want to hear anybody say, I don't care what you have to say. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up and listen! Because literally, if you stopped for 5 seconds and actually listened to what the other person has to say, they'll actually lay out a lot of the information that you're missing and misconstruing, and like everything would be fine if you would shut up and listen. But because you're angry and you're not willing to listen, and I don't care what you have to say, you're doing this, blah blah blah, you're making assumptions, you look stupid, and now the entire situation is ridiculous because you don't have all the information. And I'm like, that's it. That's all we needed, was to have a conversation and to hash everything out, lay it all out on the table, and figure it out. That's how I'm going to approach pretty much
Never
everything.
assume.
Yep. I don't like assumptions. I don't like vague invitations to things. Just be straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that is basically how I'm going to approach almost everything in life. Yeah.
Open communication.
Yep. Yeah. And so, like, when kids are old enough to, like, kids are going to drink and go to parties when they're in high school. And I always want my kids to know that you can call me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be super thrilled with the fact that you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, but you could always guarantee that I will be there for you. And your safety will 100% come first before anything else. And I just also have to remember I did stupid stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure out what we can do. Honestly, though, because I got all my partying out of the way in high school, I don't do it anymore. So I'm like, get it out young, and so you don't have to bother when you're older. That's terrible advice.
Get it over with.
But yeah. No, I got so freaking hammered on not my 21st birthday, but it was the Thanksgiving after my 21st birthday when I went to visit my family. My brother took me out to a bar. A couple of his friends stopped by, and they were like, "You're 21 now, here." And they just kept buying me shots. And I had entirely too much to drink. And then the next day was Thanksgiving. I had my own stomach acid for Thanksgiving dinner. And I don't drink anymore.
There you go.
I don't like alcohol
Experience
enough.
finish.
Experience finish. So yeah, that was a bad time. Fun while it was happening, not good afterwards, and I just have no interest in drinking anymore. So that's some Ohio shit.
I feel like leading by example also includes you have to share your own faults, like with your kids. I feel like, at least when I was growing up, my parents didn't share with me anything like you, that story you just shared. They would never share that with me. I think maybe because they thought that I would feel too comfortable then to do the same thing. So if they're so perfect, like, I would want to live up to that. But I feel like it was too much pressure to be perfect where they made the same kind of mistakes, you know?
Yeah. I feel like helping blur the boundary between parent and child and be more human
Mm-hmm.
would really help in being able to open those communication channels. And so, yeah, I think divulging some of, like, you know, your kid does something stupid, like, hey, I understand why you did that because I did it too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
this is how I fixed it, so how are we going to fix this for you now that you're in this position? Kind of thing. And so,
Admit to your faults.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
very, very good point. Very good point.
So important.
Yeah.
Be wrong. Be wrong sometimes.
Oh my god, that's such a huge thing. My
It's so
parents
important.
would never, ever wrong. They were never wrong. And that's one
Even
of my
about
biggest-
little stuff too. I'm
Yeah.
the same way. Even if it was something so minuscule and so stupid, they were never. Yeah.
There's nothing. One of my biggest pet peeves nowadays is when people double down on stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, just step back and say, okay, yeah, that wasn't good.
You look more dumb trying
Yeah.
to defend your wrong point than if you, in the beginning, had just been like, "Oh my bad."
Yeah.
And we could have moved on.
Yeah, 100%. And that's definitely one of the things that I try nowadays, because, like, and that's why I'm always open to. I love to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like why the segment of, like, the more you know. I always want to learn something new. And so one of the biggest problems in our society nowadays is, like, with media the way it is and certain news channels the way they are, is whatever you see first is the opinion that is established.
Mm-hmm.
And people are so set in that when other information comes in, they want to butt against it because they're like, no, I already know what I know, and so that must be right. No, it's not always right. You just didn't have all the information. Be open to learning more information. So I'm always, I shouldn't say always, but most of the time I'm like, if I say something and someone wants to correct me, I'm like, whoa, let's figure this out because there's obviously more to this, and I just want to learn more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's less concerned about being right and wrong, and just be like, there's more information I can learn. What is this? Like, I want to be a sponge. Like, I want to learn all the
Yes.
things about all the things.
Yes.
So bring it on. Like, I want people to correct me when I'm wrong because that opens up the opportunity to create a really awesome conversation into something that I didn't know about. And that's why I like talking about politics, because I don't know about it. I don't know enough about it.
Me neither.
And so I want someone to open the door to, like, let's hash things out. Let's do a little bit of research. Point me in the direction on how to find the information that I want. You know, because I don't know how to navigate things properly, but I'm very interested in it, and I you know, there's all these different perspectives, there's all individual points of view that you're never going to have right off the bat that you need to be open to.
Mm-hmm.
And just so many people are not open to that, and they just double down on the one thing they learned right off the bat, and it's like, no,
Mm-hmm.
but there's more. That's why, okay, so you know the illustration, there's like a big number 6 on the ground.
The 6 and the 9 thing.
The 6 and the 9 thing, and then 2 people are on either side, and they're like, it's a 9, it's a 6, and then the caption on it is like, they're both correct because it's just a perspective thing. No, they're not. No, they're not. There is actually a frame of reference, if you expand out from that, just this number 6 or this number 9, maybe there's other numbers further away that you're not looking at, that you can point of reference and have this be set in a whole...
Nobody has all the information.
Yeah, you have to broaden your horizons a little bit to see the rest of the picture, because that number 6 or that number 9 is probably in a larger set of numbers, or is oriented in a spatial awareness of something else that you can then figure out what it actually is. And so, like, I loved the illustration when I first saw it. I was like, it's a 6, it's a 9. It's just all depends on your perspective. Like, no. It depends on where your perspective or where you start, but then you have to broaden your horizons and you have to get all the information. So, that one's really interesting to me. So, yeah.
And a big part of being willing to, accept new information and stuff is that is going to make your children feel more comfortable coming to you. Because if you're unwilling to hear another side of anything, no matter what it is, politics, the news, anybody's opinion, if you're not willing to hear it, then why would your kid ever come to you with anything?
And that's made me think of, like, all the little tips and tricks that parents have to get their kids to open up to them, like, at the end of the school day.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, because I love to learn, and in my public speaking class, when you're presenting something, I would get so viciously anxious that it was just, I would shut down. And what really actually helped was my teacher said, teach us something. Pretend you're teaching us something. And it worked wonders.
Be the teacher.
I am the expert in this moment, and I am teaching you. And then
it's a great way to study, too.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. Instead of having my kids come home from the end of the school day, be like, hey, how'd it go? Like, what happened? What'd you learn? Have them teach me something. Whatever they learned that day, I was like, okay, your math class, teach me how to do your math class, because I don't know how to do it. I really don't know how to do it. So please teach me. But, like, same thing. And make it almost a challenge. I would think to myself, like, if my kid came home, teach me something new. See if you can teach me something that I didn't already know, or you can give me a perspective on it that I didn't think about before. Let's have this be...
99 times out of 100, they probably will teach you something new.
Absolutely. And so that's the thing, like, make it a little bit of a challenge, make it something fun that, like, they can one-up me on. Because as the adult in the relationship, they want to feel as if they're equals. So let them be the adult, let them be the teacher. And it'll help them also pay hopefully more attention in class, because they know at the end of the day, they're going to have to teach me something. So they better learn something to be able to teach me.
That is so cool.
So that's what I'm going to implement.
That's really
with my kids.
Cool.
They got to come home, and we're going to sit down to dinner, and we're going to go around the table, and we're going to teach you something. And that puts pressure on me too. Like, every day I need to learn something new to be able to present my kids with.
Well, it's also really important to be involved in your kid's academic life.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, then you're not on the same level.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a baby and they're learning how to speak, and say you put them in front of a TV show that is teaching them speech and signs, if you're not engaged with them, you're not going to be on the same level.
Exactly. You're not going to be able to have that practice dynamic. You're not going to be able to give them an opportunity to implement the things that they're learning in their actual everyday life.
I've seen so many TikToks of moms being like, oh my god, my baby was signing milk to me and I had no idea because I just put them in front of Miss Rachel and I wasn't watching it with them.
Yeah. You gotta learn with your kids, because again, you can learn just as much.
Yep.
And that's the show, like, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? No, I am not. they're talking about things I'm like, wait, what? Did I ever learn this? I don't know. Mm-hmm. So you can really you have to be open to learning things from your kids as well.
Yes.
So, no.
What?
I want kids.
Yeah, after this, I feel like we would be good parents.
I always told myself 36. 36 was when I need to have my life all together so I can start fostering.
You can do it by 36.
I'm thinking, 36 has always been that prominent number, for some reason in my head. So I'm like, at 36, I'm going to start fostering and adopting kids. Because again, I don't want babies or anything, but I just bring on the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I want them.
I feel like I just want to be a beacon of knowledge, and I just want to trust that whatever I raise with knowledge will make the right decisions. You know what I mean? I don't want to tell my kids what decisions to make as far as anything goes. Religion, politics, anything. I just want to, here is everything.
go forth with it.
Figure it out for yourself.
Well, I've always loved parents are always saying that you want to give your kids everything that you never had.
Hmm.
I want to teach my kids everything I never knew.
Mm.
Because there are so many things that in my adult life now, I'm 27 and I'm still learning how to function as an adult because these are things that I've never learned. I'm trying to buy a house. I don't know how to buy a house.
Even
I wish I would have been taught.
As simple as like cooking and just daily things, they're not spelled out. A lot of times it's kind of just assumed that you'll figure it out. And
well, that's why I feel like we also need to get home ec back in schools. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't need to know geometry. I promise you.
Everybody
I will
should
never
know. Like, you'd be amazed. So many people don't know how to do their own laundry.
Nope.
People don't know how to sew.
Nope.
People don't know how to cook. People don't know how to taxes. I don't know how to do
They don't know how to fill out a check. Can't fill out a check.
How to save money, how to budget, anything.
I have to, whenever I make a deposit, there's deposit slips at the back of a checkbook.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully it's already filled out for me. When you get your checks, the deposit slips are already filled out with the deposit numbers and everything. But I went to the bank to deposit something without a deposit slip already. And so they handed me a blank one. And I had to look up online which one is the routing number, which one's the account number, how to fill out this.
I don't think I can fill out an envelope. Would you like to send mail? I don't think I can.
Really? Okay.
I would have to look it up.
Yeah.
To be sure.
I mean, that's the nice thing is we do now have the internet at our fingertips, which is hilarious to me because when I was a kid in math class, they were like, you're never going to have a calculator just in your pocket. I'm like, psych! But we do have the internet at our fingertips, which does make it easier. But at the same time, these are basic life skills. But you don't know what you don't
know.
Yeah.
Until you don't know it.
Until you're put in a position, like right now. I'm in a position where I'm...
Like, I bet you didn't ever think that you didn't know how to do that until you had to do it.
Yeah. Well, I looked at a house and we were talking finances and they're like, oh, you need closing costs. You need to put this in escrow. You have the taxes. And I'm like, wait a second. I just thought I put some money down and then I pay towards it. I thought that was it. So I don't know what any of these means. And I was never taught it. My mom was a realtor at one point and I never learned any of this even then. And so... also how to figure out your insurance, how to shop for insurance. I didn't know that was a thing. You can shop for insurance. What? So there's all these like simple life things, how to build credit, how credit cards actually work and why you have to have so much, in your credit line and all these different things. And so I'm like, I want to teach my kids the things that I never knew before and teach them young enough where they can really start implementing it. And that's another thing.
You can start so young. I see kids on TikTok who are cooking at 2 years old.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also learning finances and everything, and you start young. You start investing young, you start saving young.
Just get comfortable with it. Because I feel like I'm very afraid of, I don't like to think about it.
Yeah.
But just get comfortable with it. It's everyday, it's part of life, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then also learning I need to learn better how to navigate the internet. Trustworthy sites and sources and like phishing emails and hacking emails because they're so prevalent nowadays that I've almost been sucked into it. We always laughed at our grandparents.
My mom did it the other day.
Yeah. We laugh at our grandparents all the time because they're like, oh, you're stuck on this phone with somebody who's hacked into your computer. And like, wait a second. That's happened to me before because they make it so legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so learning how to be able to pick out those kind of scams and stuff also. And learn how to discern good and bad characters of people.
Yeah. Even in looking at the news and stuff online or on TV or whatever, just discerning good sources, bad sources.
And then learning to trust your gut as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're around somebody and you just don't feel comfortable, hightail it out of there.
Yeah, again, back to that thing of what we were saying with food. It's like, I feel like kids are kind of taught not to listen to their intuition. We're taught to be polite and hug your grandparents or hug your aunt and uncle even if you don't want to. Let them pinch you on the cheek. Let them kiss you on the cheek. Like, it's rude if you don't.
Be rude.
Like,
be rude.
Let children listen to their bodies. Mm-hmm. It is, like, in such a pure and strong form, and I feel like we're teaching them to ignore it, and it's, like, it's terrible.
Yep.
A lot of it is our culture, though, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, we don't like to confront things that make us uncomfortable, so we sweep them under the rug. But then we get in trouble because, and then also, I don't want to. Well, I literally just did it. I don't want to talk about it because it's uncomfortable. I saw this thing, this one post, Tumblr somewhere or other, that a little girl goes up to her teacher and says, "My uncle licked my cookie." And the teacher didn't understand because
we're not
she's like,
teaching kids actual anatomical words for
Yeah.
things.
there is nothing wrong with anatomical words. They are anatomical. They are the proper scientific terms.
That's
Stop
the point.
hiding it.
Yeah.
Because then it can cause problems and, things get swept under.
Miscommunication.
Yep.
Yep.
And so, yeah. I think, honestly,
Very
just...
important.
And that's another... I'm like, I'm not uncomfortable talking about those things, even though I am ragingly asexual, aromantic, and I don't partake in any of it. I'm not uncomfortable talking about it. And so I know my mom, I've had conversations with my mom. She's like, stop, I don't want to know this about my daughter. And I'm like, but why? We're just talking. I'm like, I don't understand.
It's natural.
It's
It's
so natural.
normal. Like,
I mean, like, there are age appropriate ways of going about it. I'm not saying throw
Yeah.
your kid into the deep end of all this crazy stuff. Like, teach them as they grow and like the proper stages of their life. There
exactly.
are
Give
certain
them
ways-
all of the information with an appropriate, what's the word I'm looking for? Give them all the information, but in a way that's digestible for their age.
Yeah.
Don't hide anything. Don't hide anything from your kids. Just give it to them in a way that's appropriate for their age at that time.
Absolutely. And they're I mean, some things are just completely irrelevant at some times in their life. Don't preemptively put this on them when they're it's just not it's not the right
let them
time.
ask at their own pace.
And that's the thing. If a kid is old enough to ask, they're old enough to know the answer.
Exactly.
And that's kind of let them feel it out for themselves, let them figure it out. But then at the same time, still be aware, like, okay, this is the time you need to know this. You're not asking me the question, so it's time for you to know it. And, like, be able to present that to them. Still, like you said, in an age-appropriate, digestible way.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are the greatest parents that have never been.
I feel like okay, and no shame, obviously, to any parents out there who we don't have the same views, because I'm sure it's way easier to just give your kid an iPad and walk away. It might happen.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep. It might. So, never say never.
And raise your kids with sign language.
Yes. Right off the bat. Don't stop with just baby signs. Actually, just teach them the full
Start
language.
early and keep going.
Get them hooked up with a local deaf community person, and have an actual deaf person teach them as well. So
Yes.
that'd be cool.
It'd be so cool.
Because kids learn how to speak with sign language significantly earlier than
Mhm.
speech. So why not just continue the lessons? Okay.
It's good to know there's so many deaf people in the world.
And just knowing even just a little bit of sign will help them.
And it's so useful even if you're not deaf.
Yeah. And just like to see the smile on somebody's face when you know a little bit of sign, even if you can't have like a full-blown conversation, just knowing a little bit makes a deaf person's day. Just showing the effort. It makes their day.
Accessible
Lights up their
communication.
Yeah. Do you have anything? Did you have anything to teach me today, Mary Grace? Or
Oh,
we
I
good?
do if you want to do it.
Yeah,
Dang.
teach me something new. I love it.
Okay.
Better be interesting, or I'm gonna throw it out.
I think you'll like it. So I knew we were going to talk about parenting. So I have some manatee facts about like parents
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Okay. The relationship between a mother and a baby manatee is the strongest social bond created by manatees. A mother manatee will carry her baby for about 12 months before it's born, and when it's born, it will weigh nearly 66 pounds. A baby manatee is called a calf. The calf will stay close to the mother for 1 to 2 years to learn travel routes and the location of food, rest areas, and warm water refuges. Females generally give birth to a single calf every 2 to 5 years. On average, and then intervals between birth range from 2 to 5 years. I just said that, sorry. 2-year interval may occur when a cow loses a calf soon after birth. The gestation period is about a year. Males assume no responsibility for raising the calf. Mothers nurse their young for 1 to 2 years, so a calf may remain dependent on its mother during that time. The precocious calves are able to swim with their mothers within minutes of birth. A young animal commonly remains close to its mother's side. Adult manatees typically swim in a single file, but a calf always travels parallel to its mother, directly behind her flipper. It is possible that the animals can communicate most effectively in this position, or the formation is advantageous if the calf experiences less draft from the water. Female manatees do not attack other manatees or humans that approach their young. Instead, they attempt to keep other manatees and human divers away from their calves by swimming between the intruder and their offspring. If the danger is perceived as severe, the female and calf will flee. A fleeing female calf pair produces a duet, with one animal vocalizing and the other emitting an answering call. A manatee calf may stay with its mother for 1 to 2 years, even though it is probably nutritionally independent by the end of its first year. The calf gets information on feeding and resting areas, travel routes, warm water. I saw that already. And yeah.
So, thank you. I was so excited. So you did teach me something new. I was going to say, I was like, I know all of this, but you did teach me something new, and I am currently fixing the little Lego structure that I have of a couple manatees that I got after swimming with manatees. You said that baby manatees will swim parallel and behind the mom's flipper. Mm-hmm. So I am now adjusting my little Lego diagram here.
Isn't that cute?
To fit the baby behind the mama's fin. Okay, flipper. Okay, I gotta fix it. It's very delicate, so I have to be careful. Oh, I have to move that too. Whoops. That made me very happy. Thank you for that. But you know what makes me really sad?
What?
Really, really sad. Did you hear about Hugh, the manatee?
Mm-mm.
He died.
Is he like a famous?
Yeah, he's like a beloved. I don't know where. I didn't look too much into it because it made me really sad. But these two brothers, captive manatees, manatees are pretty not concerned about who they're doing it with.
Okay.
No judgment. And that includes boys with boys.
Really?
Brothers with brothers, apparently. Unfortunately, Hugh's brother had a little bit too much fun and hurt Hugh.
No, like this is why he died?
That's why he died.
No,
yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah, I'm really devastated. Oh my god, I'm breaking it. Oh my god, I broke his fin off. Oh my god. But yeah. So I'm really sad.
That's devastating.
Yeah. I mean, they're just doing their thing. It's natural. But
wow.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Hugh.
Yeah. But the problem, I'm very nervous about his brother now, because they said that anytime they've tried to like separate them, they've gotten really anxious and upset. And so now that Hugh's gone, I hope his brother's okay. I forget his brother's name. Aristotle? Something? I forget. I'm terrible. I love manatees so much, and I know absolutely nothing about the current manatees, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was pretty... You knew a lot about that.
But anyway, thanks for that. I'm very excited. I'm really struggling to fix this. We'll get there eventually. But yeah.
While you do that, I'm going to tell everybody to go check us out on Instagram, TikTok, soon to be YouTube. If someone you know doesn't have Spotify, we're everywhere. You might be listening and not on Spotify. We are on Apple, Audible, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcast. iHeartRadio. So check us out. Spread the word. Danielle's fixing the manatees right now.
I'm struggling. Okay, yeah. That does it for this episode. This was a brutal ending. I'm so sorry, people. Yeah, even me listening to it, I'm like, this is not fun to listen to.
I thought I was doing okay.
No, not you. It's like the awkward pauses that because I'm not paying attention. But yeah, so we'll talk at you next week.
We will talk at you next week. Have a good day.
Bye. I love their little hands.
I can't wrap my head around it.
Hi. Just have a freaking conversation and things would be fine.